100 years ago, hunters Viv Donald and Les Murrell took the first wapiti in New Zealand at the head of this lake, Lake Catherine, George Sound, Fiordland. In April 2023, my dad, Steve Watson, and myself, Tim Watson, were back with Viv Donald's 280 Ross rifle. This is it. Started.
We are here.
We're here. After getting acquainted at George Sound Hut, we headed off up the track to Lake Catherine. The mighty Catherine River heading out to George Sound. Here's a picture of Leslie Murrell coming back down Catherine River as they came back to camp after shooting the big wapiti. The boulders in this river are quite treacherous and slippery, and we nearly came to grief ourselves. After a gradual 2-hour climb, the ground levelled out and we started to catch our first glimpses of something up ahead. Daddy's carried the rifle all the way up the hill. We're just coming out into the lake, onto Lake Catherine. Absolutely beautiful. I can already tell it's beautiful. The beauty of Lake Catherine was really special. Thinking of Donald and Murrell sighting the bull at the other end of this lake all those years ago really hit home for us, and it was quite a special moment. So I'm doing something a little bit different than Donald and Murrell. I actually bought a pack raft with me, and I'm just heading across the lake now in that direction to the head. Dad's gone around the side, retracing the steps. It didn't take me long to get to the head of the lake. It was quite amazing being on the spot where the bull fell 100 years ago. As I waited for Dad, the sun broke out, along with this impressive rainbow. Several slips had taken out the track for Dad as he came around the side of the lake, and when he finally turned up, he looked like he'd had a bit of an ordeal, just as Murrell and Donald would have. Well done.
Good. Awesome. Sun's come out, it's nice, huh?
Just beautiful. Yeah, it was only raining 5 minutes ago.
Beautiful spot.
Yeah.
Fiordland at its best.
It's awesome. In this shot, the Ross rifle barrel is pointing at a historic slip. We surmised that this is where the shot was taken from. As Donald and Murrell would have come out onto the slip, seen the bull, they would have been forced to have taken the shot because of no cover. But here was the result. It was pleasing to see wapiti sign on the clearing and on the beach as we posed for photos with the rifle 100 years to the day the bull was taken. So we think we're pretty much on the spot where Viv Donald and Les Murrell took the first wapiti. There's a grassy bank at the head of the lake. The bush in the background over there looks very familiar in the shot, and we also ranged the approximate 350 yard distance he recorded in his account. Taking a 350 yard shot with open sights is no mean feat. This rifle is extremely accurate though, and the cartridge replicates the performance of a 7mm Remington Magnum. From Donald's account, it was here that I blessed the 280 Ross rifle, which has a very high velocity and is dead in up to 400 yards. It would not be affected by the breeze which was blowing up the lake. Our luck was in, the first shot was effective, and we shook hands on the first bull wapiti. He proved to be a fine, well-grown bull of 14 points. With our gear drying in the sun after a wet morning, it was time to head back. It had been a great experience being at the head of the lake where so much history had occurred, but now it was time to return. I paddled back with all the gear as Dad started to head back round the side of the lake. Making good time, I dropped the gear off and came back for a passenger.
This is not what I'd call advisable.
It's not advisable. I've got my boots off in case I have to swim.
Currently we're both sitting in the pet craft with minimal freeboard. Dad's holding on to my pant legs just so he doesn't fall over the back.
No, just so I don't.
And this is me on this side. So yeah, we're not
But fortunately, there's no wind.
no wind.
And
Here on Lake Catherine, still as anything. If it wasn't still, you wouldn't be able to do it.
you couldn't do it.
Well, we made it, and I've got to tip my hat here to the Koaro pet craft. They're rated for 110 kg, I think, and I weigh 118 alone. So Dad and me was quite the load, but we made it.
So we just been busting back down the track towards Georgetown Hut. It's a bit of a, the track's not super maintained, so not real well defined.
However, it was nothing a couple of hunters couldn't manage with, and we were treated to a beautiful sunset back at the hut. The next day, while overcast, was fine.
Beautiful morning here at Georgetown, outside Georgetown Hut. We're about to do some fishing. A scarpie apparently. Look like a little mini grouper almost. Hey little fella. He's trying. He's trying. Whoa! Yee-hee! That's a blue cod. That's a goodie. Oh wow!
Oh, baby. I think he's bigger than yours.
I think he is. I think he is.
I think he might be bigger than yours.
It's nice.
Here it is, the Ellis Falls. Pretty impressive. Dropping down, must be at least 100, 200 metres. Have to check that out on the map later on. Here we are at the bottom of Ellis Falls. Fair amount of spray coming up. There's a lot of power in here. A lot of power in this hydro. You wouldn't want to come down there. Woo. Not a pack rafting river, that one. Back at the hut, I tried to get some photos. You can see the murderous amount of sandflies on the shore. The next day was fine again, but our time was up. We were only here for 2 days, and we were being allowed by the ballot holder to be in there for the purposes of the centenary and not for hunting, so we were off on our way. It's always a bit weird flying over an area where you've been hunting. The helicopter seems to make a mockery of human effort, but it was cool to see the spot we'd walked. A big thanks must go to Daniel Webber, who was the ballot holder for the block. Walking in the footsteps of Donald and his guide Merrill, and some of what they got to experience was very special. From the Georgetown sandflies, tramping up through the wet forest, the treacherous rocks of Catherine Creek, the first view of the lake where they sighted the bull and grovelling around the lake cliffs, to where they likely took the shot, and standing on the shore where the great bull fell 100 years ago. It was a trip of a lifetime, and something that had to be done as owners of the Ross rifle that Donald used all those years ago. Such an important artefact of New Zealand hunting history is pretty cool to own, and it's special that it's still around and still shooting to this day. Let's go. I just smacked the 300-yard gong with the open sights. That's pretty awesome.